Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. Happy Friday, everyone. Alongside Jarom Jordan, I am Spencer Linton. It's time for Indisputable with Jeff Hansen of 24/7 Sports. We say this because Jeff has been putting out fantastic lists.
You cannot argue.
You cannot argue.
Lists.
Like these lists are just rock solid, indisputable. Jeff, welcome back to BYU Sports Nation as we count down 8 days away from BYU football. In fact,
nice shirt.
Yeah, we need to start there. The Lavelle T-shirt, it feels so appropriate on a day like today when we're so close to football season.
It does, man. Lavelle couldn't be here for the Big 12, so I'm doing my best to bring Lavelle to the Big 12 with us. And not an ad, but shout out to Dustin Ivins. Makes a great shirt.
It feels like an ad, Jeff, but I feel you.
It's a little bit of an ad, but I promise it wasn't an ad.
Lavelle's first win was against Kansas State, so it's like he set it up against the Big 12, which is exciting. We mentioned some of those lists you've been putting out on Twitter and boldest guarantees of the year. What are some of the best content that you have seen in your engagement from BYU fans as we are all excited for football?
Man, everybody's super pumped. I've been really kind of surprised at the optimism from a win-loss record. There's a lot of people out there that, hey, 8-4, 9-3. I mean, we saw some of those kinds of predictions, so that was pretty bold. But no take was bolder than Stewie Mandel's asinine take yesterday. Alani Satake being fired. That's bonkers. I mean, that's banana land crazy. He could go 0-12 this year and maybe 0-12 next year.
He'd be fine. Yes.
He'd be just fine. And I mean, even just like the practicality of it, I know you guys talked about it already, but you want to take a problem and make it a million times worse? Fire your coach 1 year into this Big 12 transition, and that's how you make that happen.
Holy cow. Well said. Jeff Hansen of the 24/7 Sports Network is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Our question of the day, Jeff, centers on, what you do at the final weekend before BYU football is officially back. And Jeremy and I were just joking about, hugging our wives and, seeing them in a few months. I'm legitimately going to take her shopping tonight for like 4 hours. Like that's not a joke. That's what is happening tonight. What are you doing on your final weekend with no BYU football?
And you got to do what you got to do. So for me, high school football started 3 weeks ago. So my wife is already kind of out in purgatory. She knows that she'll talk to me maybe in January. So that's where we're at. But she did let me know that, hey, she's watching right now. So I got to say that if I adjust my glasses while we're on air, that means I love her. So that's how we communicate during football season. Okay. I just got to push my glasses up a little bit.
Look at you, Hornacek. Assembling
exactly right.
for the family. Yep, this is for you, kids. Okay, fall camp is done. The team's getting ready for Sam Houston. What do you feel like you learned in fall camp, and what questions do you still have?
Man, there wasn't a ton that I think maybe confirmation of what we already thought, right? We thought Keaton Slovis was going to be pretty good and thought he was going to be comfortable. I think that was confirmed. I think we thought the offensive line was going to be really deep. I think that's been confirmed, but I think there's still a lot of question marks out there. I mean, we really don't know much about this defense really at all, right? I mean, there hasn't been a ton of media observation. Coaches, it's coach speak. It is what it is. So we don't know a ton about what's out there yet. But I think that we know it's going to be exciting. I think we know it's going to be more aggressive. I think we know some of the pieces and how they're going to fit into the scheme. But still a lot of questions about what that actually looks like. What does the depth chart look like? I don't know. I don't know if we know a ton about that outside of maybe 5 or 6 guys on defense. But we know what the offense is. But like I say, I don't think we learned that necessarily. More of a confirmation of what we all kind of assumed going into fall camp.
Jeff, you just presented a bunch of valid questions and cycled through, 4 or 5 different things that, are the burning questions as we approach the season. But if you had to pick one that you're just like straight up kind of frightened or maybe really concerned about, what would it be?
How is the secondary? I just don't know what that secondary depth chart looks like. I really love BYU's corners. We know about Micah Harper and the injury that he suffered. He's out for the year. So what does that secondary look like? Because I know what Jay Hill ran at Weber State. I watched a lot of Weber State football over the years. And BYU, not only do they need guys, right, to run that man scheme or to run single high safety, they need a little bit of depth. I don't think there's going to be the substitutions and things like that. So you don't need depth, from possession to possession. But if a Micah Harper goes down like he did, does BYU have the depth to run what Jay wants to run? If another guy goes down, then you really start to get a little bit weary. You know, if Eddie Heckard, heaven forbid, were to get hurt in week 1 or week 2, who steps up and is that physical press corner that Eddie Heckard is going to be for BYU this year? So that's maybe the biggest question mark I have is how does that secondary come together? I like the talent in the room, but how do they effectively run Jay Hill's scheme that's so much more aggressive and so much more physical than what Elias Tuiaki did over the last couple of years?
You look at the high school ranks, you follow recruiting heavily. What are you seeing in terms of the talent of this team compared to the last couple of years since BYU brought in 31 dudes from the portal?
It's definitely more talented. Dana Holgerson talked about it at Big 12 Media Days of like every team in the country is kind of figuring out who they are because there's so much transfer. I mean, guys that are being relied on that are brand new to the program and only 3 or 4 weeks into their tenures, right? So there's a ton of talent on this team. I look at guys, AJ Vongpachan. I look at, Eddie Heckard, Camden Garrett. The talent is there. How does that talent mesh? How does that talent learn the scheme? What does the chemistry look like? All of those, I think, are question marks. But from a pure talent standpoint, Jarom, BYU got better this year. And there's a lot of people that like to say that BYU lost a lot to the transfer portal as well. And I would dispute that. I don't think that they lost that much. I think they lost 3 or 4 guys that they would love to have this year. And then they lost some guys but they replaced them with guys who are going to be difference makers this year. The sooner they can come together and figure out how to play within this scheme and how to play with the 10 guys on the field next to them, then I think we see that talent manifest itself. But we may not see a tangible difference for the first couple of weeks of the season because guys are still figuring things out.
Yeah, it's still weird to see Keenan Peely in a Tennessee uniform. Saw that over the last few days. I was like, that just looks weird. So we obviously would love to see Keenan still playing at BYU, but I want to focus on the linebackers per se because out goes Keenan. You bring back Max Tooley, Ben Bywater, and add AJ Vongpachan. Do you feel like the depth is there if you go behind those 3 guys? Because that's a bunch of relatively young, new guys. Harrison Taggart, Isaiah Glasker. Like, what do you feel about the linebackers as it pertains to Jay Hill's defense?
Yeah, I love this linebacker room, and you nailed it with the top 3, right? I mean, Bywater, Tooley, AJV. The last time we had a 3 initial guy, KVN turned out okay, so now we got AJV. I love those 3. I think Isaiah Glasker, buy the stock now. Like the hype coming out of camp is absolutely for real. He does so many different things, and he did it at Bingham. He just did it out of the secondary, and he was small. He's a little bit bigger now, and the game has kind of changed, and I think it's changed to match what Glasker brings to the table. Love what he brings to I think he's super talented. Harrison Taggart, the only question for Taggart, talent isn't a question at all. He's got the speed, the strength, the size. It's how quickly he learns things. He got here a little bit late, so how quickly can he get up to speed? But once he does, he's absolutely talented enough to even start. He's that kind of player. And you always go down betting on a Kafusi, and BYU's got 2 in that linebacker room that feel pretty good. So I love the linebacker room. I think they have the depth, and I think what they have is kind of the new age of what depth is going to look like. You're going to have your starters who are the experienced upperclassmen, and then your depth after that in this transfer portal era is going to be young, talented guys. Because if there's a senior or a junior who's super talented but is still sitting in the backup spot, he probably is going to transfer going forward. That's just the way that things work now. So I like the way that the linebacker room is set up. You've got your 3 seniors, your 3 upperclassmen who are going to lead the way, and then some really talented young guys that are just chomping at the bit to get on the field.
BYU's favored by 20 against FBS newcomer and 21 spring FCS champ Sam Houston. Would a 20-point win be enough for BYU fans?
I think so. I would hope so. It would be enough for me. I don't know that it's ever enough for BYU fans. I think we all want to win by 50 every week. But this Sam Houston team, they've got some guys, and they redshirt. So when they found out that they were going to go to the FBS level, their coach, they met with their entire team, like all of their difference makers, and said, hey, look, you can play out your senior year right now, or you can transfer, or you can redshirt your final year of FCS and then be with us for one last hurrah when we're an FBS school. And they had a shocking number of guys that agreed to redshirt and sat out last year. So this team is experienced. They're upperclassmen. They're talented. I think Sam Houston's going to give BYU a test, especially in the first half. BYU, right? We've talked about it. They want to make a statement in the Big 12. They're excited about their new stage, their new platform, and they're going to surprise some people. All of those same arguments can be applied towards Sam Houston, who they're looking to make the same kind of statement as they move to the FBS level. So I think 20 points, I think that's fair. If BYU wins by 20, I'd be thrilled. Sam Houston can play. The Bearcats are really good.
Jeff Hansen is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Maybe I called it a while back a trap game. And, you know, I hope that BYU's not in that mentality.
I don't agree, but I get it.
It's not in that. I hope that BYU is not in that mentality. But I feel like there's enough urgency on both sides, Jeff, to your point, with trying to prove points that we're going to see some entertaining football, and that's very, very exciting to think about. We appreciate the time you spent with us. Go find another Lavelle shirt. I'm a medium. Jarom's a medium. We'll Venmo you whatever we owe you. Just if you could help us out, we'd love to support Lavelle as well.
Got it. No, it's all about Lavelle. I'll get you guys taken care of. No sweat.
You got it. Thanks, Jeff.